Good evening, everyone. A specific person in your life or entering your life is operating from motivations, patterns, or energy that make continued contact with them dangerous to your well-being in ways you might not be fully recognizing. And dangerous doesn't necessarily mean physical threat, though it could, but definitely means emotional, psychological, or spiritual harm that compounds the longer you maintain connection instead of creating complete separation. And the urgency in this message, the never again, the warning symbols, is proportional to how much damage continued contact could create. This isn't about petty disagreement or minor incompatibility. This is about fundamental toxicity that disguises itself well enough that you might be rationalizing continued interaction when clean break would serve you infinitely better. Let me describe what makes certain people so harmful that no contact becomes necessary rather than optional. First category is manipulator, who's skilled enough that you don't recognize manipulation as it's happening. They're not obviously controlling or abusive. They're subled. They use your compassion against you, your desire to be fair, your reluctance to seem judgmental or unkind. They create situations where you feel obligated to help them, support them, forgive them. Give them another chance, not through direct demands, but through carefully constructed scenarios that make refusing feel cruel. They're masters of playing victim while actually being aggressor. Masters of making you feel responsible for their emotions, their choices, their outcomes. And every interaction leaves you feeling drained, confused, like you just got talked into something you didn't want to agree to, but you can't quite identify how it happened. That confusion is intentional. They operate in gray areas where their manipulation is deniable, where calling it out makes you look like the unreasonable one. Second category is energy vampire, who extracts your vitality without providing equivalent value in return. Every conversation is about them, their problems, their drama, their needs. Your unpaid therapist, emotional dumpster, ego boost, problem solver. But when you need support, they're unavailable, dismissive, quickly shifting conversation back to themselves. Or they provide support that's actually just more burden, giving advice you didn't ask for, creating additional problems while claiming to help. The relationship is extractive, one directional flow where they take and you give until you're depleted. And you might tolerate it because you care about them, because you feel responsible for their well-being, because walking away feels like abandonment, but staying is sacrifice. And sacrificing yourself for someone who wouldn't sacrifice equally for you is slow destruction. Third category is toxic influence, who normalizes dysfunction, who pulls you toward choices you know are wrong, who makes growth harder instead of easier. They might be person who encourages your worst impulses, who validates destructive patterns, who keeps you stuck in victim mentality or addictive behavior or toxic dynamics. Friends who mock your attempts at self-improvement, partners who sabotage your success, family who reinforce limiting beliefs about what you're capable of achieving. Being around them makes you smaller, makes your goals seem unrealistic, makes healthy choices seem extreme or unnecessary. And if you're trying to grow, trying to heal, trying to build better life, trying to become healthier version of yourself. Their presence is anchor pulling you back toward familiar dysfunction. Fourth category is predator in various forms: sexual, financial, emotional, spiritual, who identified you as target and is executing plan to exploit you. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider whose presence in your life consistently leaves you feeling worse rather than better. Maybe you've been dismissing that feeling. They're going through a hard time. They didn't mean it that way. I'm probably being too sensitive. But your body knows. Your nervous system registers threat even when your mind rationalizes it away. If someone consistently makes you feel anxious, depleted, confused, small, or unsafe, that's data. Trust it. Or maybe you've been hoping they'll change. If I just love them enough. If I just explain clearly enough. If I just give them one more chance. But you've already given multiple chances. Nothing's changing except your boundaries are eroding further. Hope that ignores pattern is delusion, and delusion keeps you in harm's way. This reflection invites you to consider, what evidence would you need to accept that this person is genuinely harmful and contact needs to end? The specific harm that continued contact creates psychological damage through constant gaslighting, manipulation, or emotional abuse that makes you doubt your own perception, judgment, and worth. Over time, you start believing their version of reality over your own experience. Start accepting treatment you know is wrong. Start shrinking yourself to avoid triggering their reactions. Energetic depletion through one-sided dynamic where you're constantly giving, fixing, managing, tolerating while receiving nothing that actually nourishes you. You become exhausted, not just tired fundamentally, depleted in ways that affect your health, your work, your other relationships. Opportunity cost of time and energy spent managing this toxic connection instead of investing in relationships and activities that actually support your growth. Every hour spent dealing with their drama is hour not spent building your life, developing your skills, connecting with people who actually value you. Regression in your own growth and healing because their presence keeps triggering old wounds, old patterns, old versions of yourself you're trying to outgrow. You make progress in therapy or self-development, then one conversation with them undoes weeks of work. Contamination of your other relationships and aspects of life because stress from toxic person bleeds into everything else. You're irritable with people you love because you're carrying stress from person you should have cut off. You're distracted at work because you're processing latest interaction. Your mental and emotional bandwidth is consumed. This reflection invites you to consider what has continued contact with this person already cost you in terms of peace, energy, or opportunities. Why never talk to them again is necessary rather than just reduce contact. Because with truly toxic people, any contact is opening. Any communication is invitation for them to reestablish hook. They're skilled at using minimal access to regain full access. One conversation becomes regular contact, becomes full enmeshment again. You can't maintain casual or occasional connection with someone who's fundamentally harmful. They don't respect boundaries. They exploit any opening. Complete no contact is only protection that actually works. Not, I'll just respond less. Not, I'll keep it surface level. Not, I'll maintain connection but with firm boundaries. No contact, block, delete, remove from all platforms. Decline any communication attempts. And if you share custody, work, or family situations that make some contact unavoidable, minimal necessary contact only. Through written communication when possible. Gray rock method, boring, brief, non-emotional responses that give them nothing to latch onto. Never alone if avoidable. Never personal. Never believing they've changed just because they're being pleasant in moment. Because pleasant is performance, strategy to regain access. As soon as you relax boundaries, they revert to harmful patterns. This reflection invites you to consider, what boundary have you set with this person that they've repeatedly violated? How to actually execute no contact when guilt or history or hope keeps pulling you back. Accept that they won't understand or agree with your choice. You're not seeking their permission or approval. You're making decision for your well-being. They'll likely respond badly. Rage, guilt trip, play victim. Send flying monkeys. Create crisis. Those are manipulation tactics designed to pull you back. Don't respond. Don't justify. Don't engage with drama. Block everywhere. Phone, email, social media, messaging apps, all platforms. Don't leave opening. Don't tell yourself you'll just not respond, but keep them unblocked. Block prevents temptation to check on them or for them to contact you. Tell trusted people what you're doing and why. I've cut contact with person because relationship is toxic. If they contact you about me or try to use you to reach me, please don't participate. Having support system aware prevents them from using mutual connections to circumvent your boundaries. Prepare for extinction burst. Behavior often escalates when you first establish no contact. They try harder to provoke response. Don't react. Don't break no contact to tell them to stop contacting you. That's still engagement. Just maintain silence and blocks. Process the grief and guilt that will arise. Ending relationships, even harmful ones, creates loss. You'll grieve the person you hoped they were. You'll feel guilty about abandoning them. Those feelings are normal. Feel them, but don't let them pull you back into contact. And replace the space they occupied with positive. Invest energy you were spending on them into relationships that actually nourish you, into activities that support your growth, into healing work that addresses why you tolerated toxicity as long as you did. This reflection invites you to consider, what positive thing could you do with time and energy currently consumed by this toxic person? What happens after you cut contact both immediately and long term? Immediate relief mixed with anxiety and guilt. You'll feel lighter, but also anxious about their reaction, guilty about your choice, tempted to check on them or explain yourself. Don't ride out that discomfort. It passes. Within weeks, you'll notice mental clarity returning, emotional energy recovering, physical health potentially improving. If stress was manifesting somatically, you'll realize how much bandwidth they were consuming. Within months, you'll notice you're making better decisions, attracting healthier people, progress accelerating in areas where you'd been stuck. Because removing major toxicity creates space for growth that was impossible while managing that relationship. Long term, you'll look back and wonder why you waited so long. You'll recognize patterns you couldn't see while in it. You'll be grateful you finally chose yourself. And if they ever resurface trying to reconnect, you'll feel clear resolve instead of temptation, because you'll remember what it cost to be connected to them. You remain in complete control of whether you maintain or sever contact with the person who's harming you. You can stay connected or create boundary. Continue hoping they'll change or accept they won't. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought specific person to mind with uncomfortable clarity. Maybe defensive thoughts arising about why they're not that bad. Maybe recognition that yes, you've been avoiding this decision for too long. Whatever you're feeling, honor it. Take what resonates. Softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. What person in your life do you know you need to cut off but have been making excuses for? Drop it in the comments if you're willing to name it. And what's the story you tell yourself about why you can't end contact? Never talk to him again. Be careful with this person. Because continued contact creates harm that compounds over time. Because boundaries with truly toxic people don't work the way they work with healthy people. Because protecting yourself requires complete separation, not just reduced engagement. And because every day you maintain connection is day you're choosing their dysfunction over your own well-being. Not eventually, now. Cut contact today. Trust yourself with this trust that you're not being cruel or overreacting. Trust that people who deserve to be in your life don't require this level of boundary. Trust that you can survive their reaction to no contact. Trust that your peace matters more than their comfort. See you in the next one, and listen, toxic people don't respect partial boundaries. They exploit any opening. Complete no contact is only protection that actually works. Choose yourself. Cut them off. Stay protected. Stay clear. Stay free. The person needs to be gone from your life. Remove them. Take care.